So Nintendo has seemingly abandoned Nintendo Directs because it has now been 7 months since we got the last Direct, at least the last general Direct, and we've gotten quite a few announcements. We just got Rhythm Heaven yesterday. We got some Switch 2 Edition announcements, like with Xenoblade Chronicles X Switch 2 Edition, Animal Crossing Switch 2 Edition, the whole Tomodachi Life Direct, which I know it was its own Direct, but we haven't had it in another Direct since September, like a general Direct. We got Yoshi and the Mysterious Book out of nowhere. There's a couple others I can't remember off the top of my head. But they've kind of just been posting trailers instead of just having these Directs. And it is a very odd choice because for so long they've had most of their announcements in Directs. Like obviously they have had just trailers come out. But since it's been so long and they have to have announcements for their own games, that's how they've been doing it. And I don't really know why they're doing this because I feel like Directs just get a lot more attention. Like gives people a lot more to talk about than just one game getting a trailer. It lets them show off things that may have otherwise not gotten a lot of attention because, well, let's say Nintendo has a Direct and you're watching it live, you're going to see a lot of games you may not have seen trailers for otherwise. So that's why I think that Directs are a good thing. And I think most people figured we were probably going to get one in February because we really didn't have much news for what Nintendo is doing in 2026, especially the second half. Like, we got a few games this year already, but for the second half, I think we literally just know about Rhythm Heaven, which I don't know even what they're doing with that game. They went a whole year without talking about it, then just had a quick, 15-second trailer for it. Said one's coming out, and that's it. Like, Yoshi and the Mysterious Book comes out pretty soon, so the first half of the year. And listen, Yoshi's popular, I know that, but they don't have any big games for the second half of the year, and they have literally Yoshi, which is not the second half of the year, like I said, and Rhythm Heaven. And obviously they're gonna have more. I'm not saying that they have to have a Breath of the Wild or a new 3D Mario, but Nintendo obviously has more games planned for the summer and the fall. We just don't know what they are. Are they going to be Switch 2 editions? Are they going to be full-on new games? Are the rumors correct that we're going to get a new Star Fox in the summer and a new Ocarina of Time remake? I don't know. There are rumors that there's going to be a June Direct, but at that point it's just going to be so long since the last Direct. It's going to be going on, 9 months? Which is one of the longest gaps that there's ever been between Directs. Besides that one span, I think was 5 or 6 years ago when they just were not having Directs. I think it's possible they had a Direct plan, but decided to try something else out. Maybe there was leaks for something, I don't know, and they abandoned a Direct. Maybe they saw negative reactions to other Directs. I don't know what it could be. I would be shocked if they just were not planning any sort of Direct if that was their original plan, if they didn't shift it, because it made a lot of sense to have one in the beginning of the year, show off what the plans were for 2026. And they had an indie showcase, I believe they had a partner Direct, they had a couple game specific Directs, but not the general Directs that really just hype up the fan base when they can show off some of their big games. And I forgot to mention with games coming out, we know about Fire Emblem and Splatoon Raiders, but we don't actually know the release date for those. If Nate the Hate is correct in what he's predicting, I just can't imagine we're going to go much longer than another 2 months without a Direct, especially since I think he said that we're not getting a Direct before June. And think about all the things they could show off at that point. They could show off more of Rhythm Heaven, they could reveal the Ocarina of Time remake, the new Star Fox, more on Fire Emblem, more on Splatoon Raiders, the Switch 2 editions that are probably going to cost $80 and have slightly better graphics than the originals, a new Switch Sports, which we don't know if it's going to be, if this does come out, if it's going to be Nintendo Switch Sports Switch 2 edition, or if it's going to be a new game. I would hope it would be a new game. I just think it would be a little ridiculous to make a Switch 2 edition of Switch Sports. Maybe they would add a couple new sports, but would that really be worth it for whatever they're going to charge for it? Especially since you could pretty much pick it up for $30-$40 now. If they made a Switch Sports Resort and added just a ton of games, I would be interested in that. And then for third-party support, so we already got a lot in the partner showcase. I didn't find much of it to be that interesting. It was almost exclusively ports that have already come out. I know there's some games people have wanted ported to the Switch 2 that we didn't get announced. I've seen a lot of talk about Red Dead 2, about Clair Obscur, so I'm sure there's games like that people would like to see announced as ports. And for upcoming third-party games, I don't really know what would be announced at this point, to be on Nintendo Switch 2, especially for an upcoming game, since I would imagine they would probably announce that when the game is announced, when they have another trailer for it. I think the craziest announcement would be GTA 6. Imagine them announcing that for the Switch 2. There's been some rumors about that. I don't know how realistic that is. The Switch 2 is a powerful system for what it is, but it's not a PS5, it's not an Xbox Series X. Xbox Series S, actually, I think it's fairly close to that, but I don't know. Having GTA 6 on the Switch 2 seems like kind of a stretch, but if they can do that, that would be pretty cool. And apparently the marketing for GTA 6 is going to ramp up in the summer, so if they had a June Direct, that could line up. But for now, it really just seems like Nintendo has abandoned the Direct format, at least for the first, or almost the first half of this year, and they're going for just these trailer drops. And I don't know how I feel about it. on one hand, it's cool to just like get something unexpected like that, like just a random trailer for a game you may be interested in or a game you don't know about. But I just don't think it's the same as watching an actual live presentation with a bunch of other people and knowing that an announcement is coming but not knowing what it's going to be or getting more information on a game you're looking forward to. I think there's just something special about the direct format. Then to add on to that, I believe I mentioned this earlier, there's a lot of games people may just not think are interesting just by looking at the thumbnail and they'll just ignore it. But if you're watching a direct live, you may see a game that you may have never checked out if you didn't see it in that direct. And be like, this looks interesting, I might look more into this, I might want to get this game. Because unless you're just ignoring stuff in the direct, if you're just like on your phone whenever there's not a new 3D Mario or new Zelda, like you're going to see games that you may not have known you may be interested in. Like when I was watching the PlayStation showcase a few months ago, whenever it was, there was a few games in there that I hadn't heard of and I probably never would have seen if I didn't watch the showcase, and I thought they looked interesting and I looked more into them. And it's the same thing with Nintendo Direct, especially for people who are more into just like their bigger series, who might not know about some of the third parties, about some of the other series Nintendo has. That's what I think from a marketing perspective is one of the best parts of the Direct, because you get a lot more casual fans in to watch for like the big announcements, but you can try to get them interested in some of the other smaller announcements. Like I'm sure like there's probably some of you watching this video that have seen a game that you have never heard of in a Direct and it made you check it out. I think Nintendo as a whole, like as outside of the Mario Galaxy movie, like when the whole lead up to that, there's just been a lot less talk about the games themselves. Like you've been seeing it probably on YouTube. There's not really much Nintendo news. Like there's Rhythm Heaven now, there's Tomodachi Life, but overall it's been kind of dry. It's not exactly what you want with a new system. Now it could have been because of the Mario Galaxy movie, because Nintendo didn't want to distract from that. And that makes sense, I guess, if that's what they were doing. But the Mario Galaxy movie is out now. It's been out for over a week now, so most people who wanted to see it have already seen it. So I think this is probably where Nintendo is going to start ramping up their plans for the latter half of this year. Like I said, this year is going quick. We're already a quarter way done with 2026. Summer is quickly approaching, and I don't know about all you, I'm really looking forward to Tomodachi Life. I already pre-ordered it. So I'm not saying we need a game like every other week or something, but it's just good to have things to look forward to, like to know what you're getting on with your system. Like I'm very happy with my Switch 2, but I haven't really bought many Switch 2 games. Like I've mostly just been playing original Switch games. There have been some. I've been really enjoying Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, and Tomodachi Life is probably going to take way too much time in my life. But for Tomodachi Life, I like to have as like a side game. So I usually have a PS5 game I'm playing, like a single player game, and a Switch 2 game or Switch game that I'm playing at the same time. And then I have like my multiplayer games that I play. And I really haven't wanted to buy many Switch 2 games from Nintendo themselves, at least right away. There's games I'm interested in that I just don't want to pay the full price for. Pokemon Pokopio is another one. That's a game I haven't picked up yet. It was a system seller for a lot of people, and then that's a game that took over a lot of people's time. And now with Tomodachi Life, those games are practically going to compete with each other, or compete with people's time, I should say. So I think the first half of this year, since we pretty much know like everything going on for it, I think it's an alright first half of 2026 for Nintendo. Like I'm not going to count the Switch 2 editions, but we got Mario Tennis Fever, which seems to be a solid game. We got Pokemon Pokopia, which pretty much shattered everyone's expectations. We're getting Tomodachi Life. We're getting Yoshi. We're getting Rhythm Heaven a little after the first half. I think it's coming out in July, if I'm not mistaken. But there really hasn't been like that big like single player game, like a big single player like story game Nintendo has had. And by story, I don't mean like a game of the big story. I mean just like a story mode game, like a Pikmin, a Metroid, a Mario, a Zelda, a Xenoblade, something like that. And I'm pretty sure that Nintendo is going to have those in the second half. I do believe we're going to get a Star Fox game, because it would be very odd if Nate the Hate, who is a very reputable leaker, just leaks all this info, says there's going to be a new Star Fox game, and then it just happens to match up with us getting Star Fox in the Mario Galaxy movie after he hadn't appeared in anything except Smash for the past decade or so. That would just be an insane coincidence. More than likely, there will be a Star Fox game, and that was just like getting more attention on him. Because Star Fox is not a popular series compared to most of Nintendo's other series. It has plenty of fans. I'm not saying that no one likes Star Fox or anything, because if they make a Star Fox game on Switch, it will sell. But there's a lot of people who probably don't even know who Star Fox is outside of Smash. Like, don't really know anything about his games, because it's been 10 years. Like there are people who are nearly adults who have never played a Star Fox game because the last time it came out, they were either too young or they just didn't have a Wii U. So getting more attention on Fox and the characters, it makes a lot of sense to be getting that like sometime in the summer. Like I don't think that would be their big holiday release, but in the summer would definitely be a good possibility. And then obviously Ocarina of Time, that would probably be Nintendo's big release for this year. I know it's a remake and some people might be upset about that, but it's a remake of a nearly 30-year-old game. It came out in 1998. It's the most critically acclaimed game of all time, one of the most popular games of all time. And if it's a from the ground up remake, it will sell ridiculous numbers, especially for it being Zelda's 40th anniversary. If this is the Zelda 40th anniversary celebration we're getting, I think a lot of people would be pretty happy with that. I'm sure there'd be some other things, like we'll probably get some news in the Zelda movie, probably have some new amiibo or something. We'll get news in Fire Emblem and Splatoon, and there's probably some other surprise games in there, maybe like a Luigi's Mansion, maybe some new Kirby game. Like then there's been the Kirby Planet Robobot rumors for a while. I'm sure that there's a lot to show, and Nintendo maybe just wants to save the Direct for like just to have this huge Direct to get people like really talking positively about it. I don't know. Let me know when you think we're going to see a Direct, if you think they've just completely abandoned Directs, and be sure to subscribe.